Hello everyone. Today we are going to review the sequel to the G.I. Joe movie, G.I. Joe. My god. This microphone sometimes, man. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Today we are going to review the sequel to the G.I. Joe movie, G.I. Joe Retaliation. This is one of those films where the sequel is far superior to the original as far as I'm concerned. Not saying that the casting choices for the first one were bad by any means. I think this movie was just far better written and directed. Obviously, they didn't probably want to make the same mistakes with the storyline as they did in the first one. It just wasn't, like, going back and watching the first one, it just wasn't a very strong movie, and some of the acting was just kind of poor. And maybe that's just, and I'm not saying that those actors are bad by any means. It's just the direction they were trying to take with that film, I think, made it look worse than it actually was. It was kind of a goofier movie. And obviously some of the casting changes made this movie a little bit better. Nothing against the people who played the villains in the first movie, but the casting changes just made it much better in my opinion. Maybe just because certain people aren't fit for certain roles and they try to get into that role and it just doesn't really work. But this movie was far superior to the first one. It did have Channing Tatum in it for the first little bit, obviously, and he's now leading his team of Roadblock, Lady J, and Flint are his three main teams, and his name is Duke from the first one. And Roadblock is played by Dwayne Johnson, who I know a lot of people say, oh, he's not really that great of an actor, but I mean, the dude's been acting his whole life since he started his wrestling career. I think he's a good actor. I know he's been kind of typecast as a action movie star, but I don't really think he would fit in too many other roles, so that just works for him. Just based on obviously how much he's changed over the years, and the amount of muscle that man has put on is just insane. So to be typecast as a action movie star is not necessarily a bad thing, because he does that role really well no matter what movie he does. So anyhow, kind of getting off topic. So as we know, Zartan has used the nanomites to basically transform his appearance into the president. The president is obviously not... Well, he's being held captive by Zartan, and they are trying to obviously free Destro and the Cobra Commander. Right. They are successful in that because they framed Snake Eyes for, what was it again? Killing somebody. But it wasn't actually Snake Eyes who did it. It was Storm Shadow, and he's just posing as Snake Eyes. And then when he gets into the maximum security prison that Destro and the Cobra Commander are in, Firefly, I don't think he was in the first movie. Anyway, this Firefly character comes in and blows up the prison from the outside, while Storm Shadow is able to basically work his way out of the prison with the Cobra Commander, and then obviously the Cobra Commander and Zartan meet up, and they have framed at the beginning of the movie the G.I. Joes for treason, because obviously Zartan tells them to go on this mission to retrieve this nuclear missile, and then he says that the G.I. Joes tried to retrieve it for themselves in order to launch it, I believe was the plan anyway. And then so he goes in and wipes out the G.I. Joes except for Roadblock, Lady J, and why can't I think of his name? Shit. Just give me a second here. Lady J, and I know I said it at the beginning too, and now I can't think of it. I hate when that happens, when something just leaves your head for a second. Anyhow, so the three of them... Hold on here. Because I believe it was the last thing I searched. Yes, perfect. Okay. Come on, where is he? Flint, right, jeez. Okay, so the three of them obviously survive. They are able to make it back to the United States, and they're able to meet up with Colton, who I guess was the maybe original G.I. Joe, or at least that's kind of how I perceived it anyway. So with the help of Colton and his team, they are obviously going to go back and get the real president, obviously, and overthrow Zartan, because they know that he's now they know who Zartan is posing as, or they know who the fake president is. Zartan is the way I should have said that, I guess. The fake president is Zartan. Yes, that sounds better, doesn't it? Anyway, so that's what they do, and they save the day. So basically, Zartan's plan was to denuclearize the entire world, and he does that by launching his own nukes, and then getting every other country to launch them. And then he self-destructs his nukes, and then every other country follows suit, because obviously he doesn't want any blowback, I guess, when he finally launches his other weapon. What were they called? God, I can't. I should say here somewhere. Okay, I can't seem to find the name of them, which doesn't make any sense, because anyway, the weapons were these satellites that launched these missiles that I guess the name really wasn't important, but anyhow, that launched these missiles that had the same or was it twice the power of a nuke? More power than a nuke, but it didn't leave the nuclear waste that a nuclear missile would, but it still had the exact same effect. But I guess it kind of like destroyed from the ground up in a weird way. Like it blew up, but it like destroyed I don't know how to explain it. It was almost like the tectonic plates were shifting in a weird way underground when the missile blew up, and it just like destroyed the whole of London by lifting it from underneath in a weird. Yeah, it was a very weird concept design. I mean, it'd work for obviously warfare, especially after you were in control of all of it. So that's what the Cobra Commander wants. He's trying to launch on all these cities, and obviously the G.I. Joes are trying to stop him, and they are successful in doing that, because they really left it down to the last second, but Roadblock is able to defeat Firefly and stop the missiles from launching on the rest of the countries besides London. Unfortunately, London was destroyed in this movie, but it seems like London and Paris are always a target for movies for whatever reason, but yeah, I don't know why. I guess maybe because the Queen has the most power really over there, I would say. Maybe that's why they want to wipe out the highest power. I guess that makes some sort of sense, right? Anyhow, but this movie was far superior, especially the scenes. I would say this is probably one of the most iconic movie scenes of the at least 2010s. Was the scene between when Snake Eyes is tracking down Storm Shadow, and just the fight scene on the mountain between Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, and all of the once they knock Storm Shadow out, and he has to he's retrieving Storm Shadow, anyhow, and just the scene on the mountain with him against all the other ninjas is just insane. Yeah, so that was probably one of the better scenes, and I just love the action scenes between them anyway, because they're just they really make these movies, or I would say those scenes really make these movies. As far as that goes, yeah. So this movie for me as a 10 out of 10. Oh my god! And another thing was that Storm Shadow realizes that Zartan betrayed him years ago when he was framed for killing his own master, and I believe, yeah. And obviously he knows that he didn't, because when he finally picks up the sword that was used to kill his master, the sword breaks, and he says that the steel that his swords are made of doesn't break. So now he becomes a G.I. Joe for a limited time to obviously help them overthrow Zartan and get the real president back in the spot that he's supposed to be in, so that the G.I. Joes can be reinstated as heroes and not terrorists. So, I guess order was restored in a weird way in this movie, and yeah, it was a much better movie than the first one, so this is one of those ones where the sequel is just far better than the original. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I think I've covered everything that I can, or at least that I could think of. And yeah, 10 out of 10 on this movie. So please like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts on this film if you've seen it. And maybe, who knows, some people might have liked the first one better than the second one. I just thought this one was better than the first one, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, comment your thoughts down below on this film. I think I just said that. But anyhow, please go watch this movie. Sorry, if you haven't seen it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye for now.